Welcome back to the channel. It's later in January, and I was looking at the weather report, and it said up in the Darrington area we'd have snow and we would have fog. Well, I see fog, but it's higher up in the trees and the hills. I'm hoping once I get down to the river we'll see some. And the snow, well, you can see no snow. It wasn't even snowing when I drove in. So I was hoping to pull out my snowshoes, but a hike is just as good as a snowshoe. I'll be able to pull out those new snowshoes soon enough after last weekend's fiasco where, oh my gosh, I didn't have the directions. I finally figured out how to get them put together properly, but now I'm itching to use them, and my goal of coming up to Darrington to use them, not happening. But kind of a misty, damp day, and there's a river down here, so let's go see what we can find. For anyone who knows me, they know I'm a sucker for those small forest scenes. And what I found is this wonderful little vignette of a cedar tree, western red cedar, with some salal in front of it. And let me show you what I've got here. What I've got is a battery that's about to expire, but I've got extra, so that's not a worry. I really wanted to show this wonderful striations. I always do that. The striations of the cedar tree, the bark that's just so wonderfully detailed, with the green of the salal, those leathery green leaves, and they're wet. So I do have my polarizing filter on. As you can see, if I turn the polarizing filter, those leaves get shinier. And then if I keep turning it, it gets back to where they are as shiny. I do have some shine on it because that is the Pacific Northwest forest. Wet leaves, shiny leaves. But I really like this composition. So I've got it at an F8, I believe. I need to look at that again. And it's a 2-second exposure at ISO 100. Again, it's kind of a dark day, and I don't have a lot of light, but there's enough light coming in through the trees to highlight those leaves beautifully. And I love this angle right here. Yeah, this is just wonderful. I'll probably end up cutting this part off in the cropping in post-processing. But yeah, it's this angle right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get this image and show it to you now. I'd like to say that was the first photo of the day, but actually there was a beautiful light coming in this morning on White Horse Mountain. So of course I had to pull over and get some images. And if I'm thinking right, one of them might actually be the title for this, the title shot, the thumbnail, whatever, for this video, because it was just such beautiful light. But we've got that one in the bag and heading down towards the river. It looks like there is fog in the river valley, so let's see what we can find in the fog. I am really liking this mossy bank with the river. There's not a lot of fog, not a lot of light, but you know, I'm really liking this, and I'm looking for a composition here. So I'm going to set my camera or pull it out and try and see if I can find one. Listen, I can talk over the roar of this river. I did find something, and it's going to get my feet wet, but I think it's going to be really cool. So let me talk you through the composition. What I have is this rock right here over on the left-hand side. And then I've got this wonderful curve of this green that kind of frames the river and this rock. And I think it's going to be really kind of pretty. I've got it I'm at ISO 100, an F13, because I'm pretty close to this here, but I want this nice and in focus all the way around. So I found that I need to take a couple of photos. I played with the ISO a little bit because I wanted to slow down the water, but I didn't want it completely, smoothed out. I wanted some texture in it, so I needed to use my ISO to change that, so I could change my shutter speed, because I wanted to keep my aperture at 13 because I needed that depth of field. So the way to play with that, if you're needing a certain aperture and you need to make the shutter speed a little bit faster, you need to increase your ISO. And my feet are getting wet, but that's okay. But yeah, just trying to get a couple of images and seeing how the flow of the water, the bubbles and everything. And I'll take it home and figure out which one I like best, and I'm going to show that one to you right now. Walking along the trail, really beautiful forest. I was seeing some really great lichens and mosses making really interesting patterns, and on some of the dead trees. So I was looking for that, and then I found this wonderful little beachy area, and decided to come down and take a look. Saw some mossy rocks at the far end, so started walking there, and then I found this really great area with a tree root. It looks like it might be a spruce. No, it's a fir. But I don't know if you can see it, but the wonderful mossy rocks and the trunk, the root coming down, I was just really kind of fascinated with it. So I'm going to go ahead and set up. I was playing with my camera, seeing if I can find a composition, and noticed I needed my wider angle to get a really good composition on it that didn't cut it off on the sides. And we're going to go ahead and set up that composition. I'll talk you through it. So what I've done is I've got, oops, keep doing that to you. What I've got is part of the root coming in this way, part of the root coming in this way. It's a little flat spot, just kind of leading your eye, a nice area to let your eye rest, all the way up into all these rocks, and then there's a little hole up here that just kind of leads you to. And I've got it at an F13 ISO 100, which gives me about 3 seconds. So of course I have my image stabilization off and my 2-second timer going, and we're going to go ahead and get a photo of this. Even though I didn't get the conditions I was hoping for, I think I got some pretty interesting images. I had some raindrops on some moss on a maple tree. I just couldn't get a good composition of those. Didn't like anything I saw. So walked on a little bit further, and there's massive, well, a couple of massive trees that fell down over the trail. And so I had to turn around and head back to the car, which is fine. It's been a nice morning anyways, and without the conditions. But this is a really gorgeous forest. And you know, the thing is, I saw no one else out here. It is winter. A lot of people are up skiing and snowboarding and enjoying the winter sports, and that's what my expectation was today. But these winter hikes, these lowland hikes in the forest, you know, not a lot of people think about hiking in the forest. They want those gorgeous views, especially in the wintertime when it's wet and rainy. But you can find a lot of great solitude in these places. So I really encourage you to find a nice woodland to go hike in. And wow, I think I see another photo maybe. Let's check it out. What I was seeing when I was talking to you is this wonderful branch coming out here, and this, I believe, is an alder tree. And it's just stretching across these younger trees here and these older trees here. And I liked that separation. I also like that this is a deciduous tree and these are conifers. And I just think it's a nice little composition, kind of spellbinding, really. The red you see is, I've got a manual focus, no special purpose. And these are telling me that these areas are in sharp focus, and that's really what I want. I've got it at 9.5 aperture. Everything's kind of far away, so it doesn't need to be a really, really steep aperture. And it's at ISO 100, and that's going to be 0.5 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and get this image. 2-second timer. And there we have it. I'll probably do a little cropping on the sides, but that's the image. All right, let's get back to that ending. Yeah, gorgeous day. Lots of little surprises. Lots of really pretty possibilities. I didn't take a lot of photos today, but that's okay. I was out here enjoying myself and really trying to focus on how to build my content for this coming year. And hope you are willing to come along and enjoy the upcoming year. And if you are, make sure you subscribe, hit the like for this video, and ring the bell to get notified of future videos. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Vero. I'm also on Facebook, and there's a bug. Oh my gosh, it's winter and there's already a bug. And I will see you on the next adventure. Bye.